My friend's mom whispered, "I'll regret this in the morning," I answered, "Then let's live for tonight." Silver towers reached toward the sky, connected by thin glowing walkways that shimmered like threads of starlight. Life in Naira 7 was orderly, precise, and predictable. Every day felt like the last. Yet for 17-year-old Curran, predictability was suffocating. Curran's best friend, Aaron, lived on the city's outer ring, near the old observation sector, a place that had been abandoned for decades. No one went there anymore. The old observatories were rusting, their telescopes covered in a thin layer of cosmic dust. But that's exactly why Curran loved it. There was magic in the forgotten. That evening, Aaron met Curran near the observation sector. The airlock hissed as they slipped inside. Inside, the corridor smelled of metal and ozone. Broken panels hung from the walls and faded lights flickered weakly, barely illuminating the way. "I swear, every time we come here it feels like we're stepping into a story," Curran whispered, a grin spreading across his face. Aaron smiled but didn't answer. Tonight wasn't just another adventure. Tonight there was someone waiting, someone unexpected. Her name was Ilara, Aaron's mother. She had once been an astronaut, one of the first humans to step beyond the inner planets, but after a series of missions, she retired early and became a recluse. Few had ever met her, and fewer still had heard her speak of her travels. People said she had secrets, but no one knew what they were. When Curran and Aaron entered the central chamber, the sight stole Curran's breath. The observatory was larger than he had imagined. Its dome-shaped ceiling shimmered faintly, reflecting light from the gas giant outside. In the center stood Ilara, her silver hair catching the dim glow, eyes fixed on an object in the middle of the room. It was small, no bigger than a human heart, but it pulsed softly with blue and green light. Strange patterns floated around it like wisps of energy, hovering just above the surface. Curran felt drawn to it immediately. Ilara didn't notice them at first. She whispered, almost to herself, "I'll regret this in the morning." Curran blinked. The words were strange, almost intimate, but also filled with an excitement he couldn't place. Without thinking, he replied, "Then let's live for tonight." Ilara turned slowly, her eyes meeting Curran's. For a moment there was silence. Then, instead of scolding him, she smiled. There was a spark there, a recognition that something extraordinary was about to happen. "The artifact," she said softly, gesturing toward the pulsing object, "was never meant to be found. Not by anyone." Curran's curiosity flared. "What is it?" She walked closer, the light reflecting off her face. "It's a message, or maybe a test, something left by beings far older than us, and it responds only to those who take risks, those who look beyond fear and rules." Aaron shivered slightly. "You mean it chooses who can use it?" Ilara nodded. "Not uses it, understands it. Most species would never grasp its language, humans might, but only because we're stubborn, curious, reckless." Curran felt a rush of excitement. He had always known humans were clever, but this was something bigger than cleverness. It was a chance to be part of something entirely unknown. "Show us," he said. Ilara hesitated, then placed her hands near the artifact. The light responded immediately, swirling faster, forming a holographic projection that filled the chamber. It wasn't images of places or people. It was shapes, lines, and colors, moving with a rhythm that made Curran's chest tighten with awe. "It's trying to communicate," Ilara whispered, "but it's not language as we know it. You have to feel it, think it." Curran stepped closer. He could almost feel the patterns reaching out to him. Shapes twisted and turned, forming what looked like impossible geometries, yet somehow they made sense in his mind. Emotions came with them: curiosity, wonder, even joy. He reached out, his hand hovering above the projection. The colors responded instantly, bending around his fingers as if acknowledging his presence. Ilara watched him carefully. "You see," she said, "humans are different. We approach the unknown not with caution but with a desire to explore." Other species, they would stand frozen, too afraid to touch the impossible. Aaron stepped forward, hesitantly placing a hand near the projection. The artifact's light pulsed faster, wrapping around her fingers like ribbons of color. "It likes us," she whispered. "I can feel it." Alara's smile deepened. "More than likes Aaron, it's testing us to see if we are ready." Curran's heart raced. "Ready for what?" She shook her head. "I don't know yet, but whatever it is, it will change the way we see everything." The chamber was silent except for the soft hum of the artifact. Curran and Aaron stood there, mesmerized as colors danced around them. Time seemed to stretch. The world outside the dome, the orbital city, the glowing towers, the endless space beyond, faded into the background. Finally, Curran laughed softly. "I guess we're really living for tonight, huh?" Elara chuckled, a sound that was both warm and mysterious. "Yes, tonight the rules don't matter. Tonight we explore." They spent hours in the observatory, experimenting with the artifact, testing its responses. Every small gesture, the tilt of a hand, the angle of a finger, the rhythm of a heartbeat, produced new patterns and new colors. They were discovering something alive, something that responded to human intuition rather than logic. By the time the gas giant rose fully above the horizon, painting the dome in shifting colors, Curran felt different. It wasn't just excitement or wonder. It was a deep understanding of one truth. Humans were made to reach for the unknown, to risk, to explore, to experience joy even when consequences were uncertain. Alara finally spoke again. "We need to keep this secret. The city cannot know. Others would never understand. They would fear it, but you too, you have the courage to continue." Curran nodded, the words filling him with pride. This was bigger than exploration or adventure. It was about proving, even to the universe itself, that humans were bold, capable, and curious beyond measure. The three of them sat in silence as the artifact's light pulsed softly, echoing their excitement. Somewhere in that silent, glowing chamber, they knew that this night was only the beginning. And as the gas giant's light bathed the observatory in blue and green hues, Curran whispered to himself, "Then let's live for tonight." For the first time, he felt the true meaning of human audacity. Not to wait, not to fear, not to hesitate, but to leap into the unknown hand in hand with those who dared to dream. The next morning, the city of Naira 7 hummed with its usual rhythm. Silver trains glided silently. Along their tracks, lights blinked on the towers, and people moved like precise, synchronized machines. But for Curran, Aaron, and Alara, the day felt different. Nothing outside seemed ordinary anymore. The stars, the city, even the familiar hum of the orbital engines carried a new weight, the weight of discovery. After a quick breakfast in Aaron's apartment, the three of them returned to the observatory. The artifact had not moved or changed overnight, but its glow felt stronger, almost as if it had been waiting for them to return. "Do you think it knows we came back?" Aaron asked, a mix of excitement and nervousness in her voice. Alara shook her head slowly. "I don't know, but it reacts to attention, awareness, and curiosity. The more we engage with it, the more it reveals. Humans can understand it in ways no other species could." Curran leaned closer to the artifact, letting his fingers hover just above its pulsing surface. Colors shifted instantly, forming patterns that seemed to mimic his thoughts, his excitement, even his doubts. He felt a strange warmth in his chest, a connection that made the room feel alive. Suddenly, the artifact projected a new image, something he had never seen before. A swirling spiral of light expanded across the room, forming shapes that looked like planets, stars, and strange structures that floated between them. The images weren't still. They moved as if alive, rotating and pulsing in rhythm with Curran's heartbeat. "What is it showing us?" Aaron whispered. Her eyes sparkled, reflecting the swirling light. Alara stepped closer, her hand hovering near the projection. "I think it's showing us the universe as it wants us to see it. Not through maps or measurements, but through patterns, through intuition. It's a language of ideas, not words. Curran reached out and traced a spiral of light with his fingers. The spiral bent and twisted around his touch, forming a shape that reminded him of a staircase leading somewhere. "It's guiding us," he said softly. "I think it wants us to follow it." Aaron nodded slowly. "But follow it where?" Alara's face was serious now. "That's the question. If it's a message, it's not a simple one. It's inviting us somewhere, maybe far beyond this city, far beyond anything we know." Curran felt a thrill run through him. He had always wanted adventure, but this was something beyond anything he had imagined. It wasn't just exploration, it was discovery on a scale that made the entire universe feel close, almost personal. "Then we have to go," he said, determination in his voice. "We can't let this chance pass." Alara's eyes softened. "It's not safe. The journey will be long, and no one has ever tried to follow a path like this. But you're right, humans are the only ones who could try." Over the next few hours, they prepared for the journey. Alara had kept a small spacecraft in the observatory's hangar, a sleek vessel designed for long-distance travel, with advanced sensors and engines capable of navigating cosmic anomalies. It had been dormant for years, coated in a layer of dust, but with a few adjustments it was ready. Curran and Aaron worked alongside Alara, learning quickly how the systems operated. They adjusted navigation panels, calibrated sensors, and stored supplies. The more they worked, the more Curran realized how different humans were from other species. Where logic alone would fail, humans relied on curiosity, intuition, and imagination. They improvised solutions, made connections others couldn't see, and kept a sense of wonder even while solving complex problems. Finally, the ship was ready. The artifact pulsed brighter than ever, projecting a line of light that stretched from the observatory into space. Curran felt a shiver of excitement. "That's our path," he said. Alara nodded. "Yes, but remember, this is just the beginning. We may encounter things no one has ever seen, but humans, we adapt, we survive, we explore." The engines hummed as the ship lifted off, gliding silently past the towers of Naira 7 and into the star-filled void. Curran pressed his hand to the controls, feeling the pulse of the ship beneath him, the rhythm of energy that seemed almost alive. Aaron sat beside him, eyes wide with excitement, while Alara monitored the sensors, guiding them toward the coordinates projected by the artifact. Hours passed as they navigated through empty space, the observatory and city shrinking behind them. Stars stretched into streaks of light as the ship accelerated, and the artifact's patterns continued to guide them, glowing softly in the center of the cockpit. Suddenly, the ship entered a region of strange energy currents, a swirling field of light that twisted unpredictably. Sensors flickered and the ship's engine strained. "What is this?" Aaron whispered, gripping her seat. Alara studied the readings carefully. "Cosmic anomalies, they're natural but unpredictable. Most ships would fail here, but we can adapt." Curran smiled, the thrill of challenge rushing through him. "Then let's see what humans can do." Using a combination of instinct, observation, and careful adjustments, Curran maneuvered the ship through the anomalies. The currents of light wrapped around them like ribbons, threatening to push them off course, but he noticed patterns, subtle repetitions that hinted at a safe path. He adjusted the engines, tilted the ship, and let intuition guide his hands. Slowly they navigated through the storm of energy, emerging on the other side. Aaron exhaled, her eyes wide. "I can't believe we made it." Alara smiled. "Humans are capable of more than most species. Not because of strength or numbers or even technology, but because we see possibilities others miss. We take risks, we learn, we adapt." The artifact pulsed once more, brighter and faster, projecting a new image, a swirling nebula, luminous and vast, with structures that seemed suspended within its clouds of gas and light. "That's where we're headed," Alara said softly. Curran felt a shiver run down his spine. The nebula was enormous, more beautiful than anything he had ever seen. Colors danced in ways that defied logic: violet flames, golden rivers of light, and crystalline formations that seemed alive. The artifact's projection hinted at paths through the nebula, invisible to the eye but clear to those who understood its language. "We're really doing this," Curran said, a smile spreading across his face. "We're exploring where no one else has gone." Erin nodded, her excitement mirrored in her eyes. "It feels magical, like the universe is showing us its secrets." Alara's voice was calm but full of pride. "It's not magic, it's understanding. Humans see patterns, make connections, and create meaning where others see only chaos. That is what allows us to reach beyond the known." As the ship approached the nebula, the artifact's light expanded, bathing the cockpit in colors that seemed to respond to their emotions. Curran reached out, and the lights wrapped around his fingers like ribbons of energy, as if acknowledging their courage, their curiosity, and their willingness to explore. The journey through the nebula was slow and delicate. The structures within it seemed fragile, almost alive, reacting to their presence. Every turn, every adjustment, revealed new wonders: floating crystal towers that shimmered with internal light, rivers of liquid starlight winding through gas clouds, and strange energy currents that sang with harmonic tones. Hours turned into days, yet no one felt tired. The wonder of discovery kept them awake, alert, and connected to the artifact. Curran felt a profound sense of purpose. He wasn't just exploring for fun or adventure. He was part of something larger, something that tested the very limits of human curiosity and ingenuity. Finally, at the heart of the nebula, they reached a massive structure, a crystalline lattice, floating in space, glowing with light that seemed to pulse in rhythm with the artifact. Sensors indicated it was enormous, yet delicate, and designed in ways no human mind could fully comprehend, except perhaps for the intuitive guidance of the artifact. Alara's voice was filled with awe. "This is what the artifact has been leading us to. A place created by beings far older and wiser than us, and they are waiting for us." Curran looked at the structure, feeling the hum of energy in his chest. He realized that humans had not just stumbled upon this marvel, they had earned the right to be here. Their curiosity, their courage, and their willingness to risk the unknown had brought them to the edge of the universe's secrets. Aaron's hand found his. "Are we ready for whatever comes next?" Curran smiled, feeling the pulse of excitement, fear, and wonder all at once. "We'll never know if we don't try. That's what it means to be human." And so, at the edge of the nebula, with stars twinkling around them and the artifact glowing softly between them, they prepared to make the first contact, not with weapons or force, but with curiosity, courage, and the uniquely human desire to understand the unknown. Tonight, they would take the first step into a universe that had been waiting just for humans. The crystalline structure floated silently in the heart of the nebula, its glowing lattice stretching like a cathedral of light. Curran, Aaron, and Alara stared in awe, unable to believe the scale and beauty before them. Every facet reflected colors beyond comprehension: liquid gold, deep violet, and soft greens that seemed alive. The artifact pulsed between them, reacting to their presence, as if acknowledging their courage in reaching this place. "We made it," Curran whispered, his voice trembling with excitement. "I can't believe we actually made it." Alara shook her head, a small smile on her lips. "It's more than just belief. We were guided by curiosity, intuition, and the very human ability to take risks when others would hesitate. That is why we are here." Aaron's eyes sparkled as she touched the glowing lattice of the structure. Her fingertips hovered inches above it and the light rippled like water in response. "It feels alive," she breathed. "It's like it's waiting for us to understand it." Alara nodded. "Or it's waiting for us to prove that we can." The artifact pulsed brightly, projecting a new array of shapes and colors. Unlike before, these images seemed more deliberate, more structured. Curran could sense patterns forming like instructions, or perhaps a map. The shapes twisted and turned, forming pathways, openings, and chambers within the crystalline structure. It wants us to explore, Curran said slowly. It's giving us a path. Aaron glanced at him nervously. What if it's dangerous? What if we make a mistake? Curran smiled. Then we learn that's what humans do. We take risks, but we adapt. That's why we survive. That's why we're here. Alara looked at him, admiration shining in her eyes. Exactly. And now we take the next step, carefully but with courage. They moved toward one of the glowing openings in the lattice, stepping onto a bridge of translucent light that seemed to materialize under their feet. Each step caused ripples in the crystalline surface, like a pond disturbed by a pebble. Curran felt exhilaration and a hint of fear, but it was the kind of fear that sharpened his senses rather than froze him. As they entered the structure, the world changed. The interior was vast, with chambers stretching far beyond what the eye could see. Floating platforms connected corridors of light, and strange geometric shapes drifted like islands in midair. Colors and energy patterns shifted as they moved, responding to their emotions, thoughts, and curiosity. It's like it knows us, Aaron whispered. It can feel us. Curran nodded. Humans are special that way. We can communicate without words, without technology. We understand patterns, emotions, and possibilities. Maybe that's why it chose us. Alara led the way, moving with a quiet confidence. We must pay attention. Every movement, every thought matters. The structure will respond to us, but only if we act wisely. Hours passed as they explored, discovering chambers filled with floating lights, shapes that spun endlessly, and reflections of places they had never seen. Each room seemed to teach them something: patterns of energy, sequences of light, or subtle messages hidden in the shifting colors. At one point, Curran reached out to touch a sphere of golden light floating in midair. Instantly, the sphere expanded, forming a holographic map of nearby star systems, nebulae, and planets. Lines connected certain points, almost like a road map, leading to locations that seemed impossibly distant. "This is incredible," he whispered. "It's showing us the universe in a way we've never seen." Aaron leaned closer, tracing the glowing lines with her fingers. "It's beautiful, but what does it mean?" Alara studied the map carefully. "It means that someone or something has been observing the universe for a long time. They left this as a guide for those who are willing to understand it. And humans, we are the ones who can." Curran felt a thrill of pride. Humanity, small and fragile in the vastness of space, had a courage and curiosity unmatched by any other species. They could see patterns, take risks, and adapt where logic alone would fail. That was why they were here, at the heart of the nebula, standing before a gift the universe had hidden for eons. As they continued exploring, the artifact pulsed faster, projecting a new set of images. This time they saw shapes that resembled beings, tall, luminous forms that moved with elegance and grace. Their shapes shifted constantly, as if they were made of flowing energy rather than solid matter. "They're intelligent," Aaron said, awe in her voice. "They're trying to communicate with us." Alara nodded. "Yes, but their language is abstract. It's not words. It's patterns, rhythms, colors, ideas, and only humans can interpret it through intuition and creativity." Curran reached out, letting the patterns flow around his fingers. Instantly, he felt a connection, a sense of understanding that went beyond logic. The beings were curious about humans, testing their creativity, patience, and ability to solve problems without fear. "They're not hostile," Curran said. "They want to see if we are ready." Aaron looked nervous. "Ready for what?" Alara smiled softly. "Ready to understand, to learn, to take the first steps into a universe that doesn't need weapons or fear, only curiosity and courage." For the next several hours, they interacted with the beings' projections. The patterns shifted, creating puzzles, sequences, and challenges. At times, the challenges seemed impossible, but the three of them worked together, using observation, intuition, and creativity to solve each one. At one point, a chamber filled with flowing light shifted as they entered. Platforms appeared only when they touched certain patterns in the correct sequence. The puzzle was complex, but Curran noticed the subtle repetition in the colors and movements. He guided Aaron and Alara, and together they navigated the shifting pathways, reaching the center of the chamber. The artifact pulsed brightly, and the projections of the beings coalesced into a radiant form, as if acknowledging their success. For a moment, Curran felt as though the entire universe was smiling at them, recognizing their courage and ingenuity. Alara's voice broke the silence. This is it. This is why humans are here. Not because of strength, not because of numbers, not because of technology, but because of our ability to take risks, to think creatively, and to understand beyond what is visible. That is what makes us extraordinary. Curran looked at the artifact, the crystalline structure, and the flowing projections of energy. He realized that this was more than discovery. It was a test, a connection, and a lesson in one. Humanity had been chosen not because they were the strongest, but because they dared to dream, to explore, and to trust their instincts. Aaron squeezed his hand. I can't believe this is real. I never imagined we'd find something like this. Curran smiled. Neither did I, but we did, and now we keep going. There's more to learn, more to discover, and more to understand. Alara nodded. The next steps will take us farther than anything we've imagined. But humans, we thrive in the unknown. That is our strength. That is why we are here. As they prepared to continue deeper into the crystalline structure, Curran felt a sense of purpose unlike anything before. They were explorers, not just of space, but of understanding itself. Every pattern, every challenge, every step forward was proof of humanity's ability to reach beyond limits and embrace the unknown with courage and creativity. The artifact pulsed one final time, projecting a swirling spiral of light that pointed toward the heart of the structure. Curran took a deep breath, his chest filling with excitement and determination. "Then let's go," he said. "Humans don't wait, we explore." And with that, the three of them moved forward, stepping into a world of wonder and mystery, guided by the artifact, connected to the beings, and fueled by the uniquely human courage to live for discovery, for understanding, and for the extraordinary unknown that awaited them. Tonight, in the heart of a nebula, humans proved once again that they were meant to reach for the stars, not with force, but with curiosity, creativity, and heart. The deeper they moved into the crystalline structure, the more the environment seemed alive. Light rippled across the walls like waves in a glowing ocean, and every step they took caused the floors beneath them to respond, adjusting, bending, and pulsing with energy. It was no longer just a building, it was a living entity, a place designed to sense and interact with those who entered. Curran, Aaron, and Alara paused at a massive chamber in the heart of the structure. It was enormous, stretching in every direction as far as the eye could see. At its center floated a sphere of pure light, larger than any of them, radiating energy that seemed to hum in tune with their hearts. The artifact pulsed beside it, resonating with the sphere as if in conversation. "This is incredible," Aaron whispered. Her voice echoed softly, blending with the low hum of energy in the chamber. "It's alive, isn't it?" Alara nodded, her eyes fixed on the sphere. "Yes, and I think this is the source. Whatever the artifact has been guiding us toward, this is it. It's not just a structure or a message, it's a form of intelligence, a being, or perhaps a network of beings, that exists on a level far beyond our understanding." Curran took a careful step closer, studying the light. Patterns shifted within it, forming shapes that reminded him of constellations, spinning galaxies, and swirling energy currents. The patterns seemed to move in response to his thoughts. When he focused on curiosity, the sphere glowed warmer. When he wondered, it pulsed gently. "It's sensing us," he said softly, "and responding." Aaron hesitated. "But why us? We're just humans, we're small, fragile, nothing compared to this." Alara smiled knowingly. That's what makes humans special. It's not strength or size or power. It's our ability to observe, to learn, to adapt, and to take risks when others would hesitate. This intelligence, it tests for creativity, curiosity, and courage. Humans are one of the few species who can pass that test. Curran felt a thrill of pride. Humanity, often underestimated in the universe, was capable of something extraordinary. Not because of weapons, technology, or dominance, but because of heart, mind, and instinct. The sphere pulsed faster, projecting a new vision into the chamber. Holographic images of distant planets, stars, and civilizations filled the space around them. They weren't simple diagrams, they were alive, showing interactions, relationships, and patterns. And within those patterns, Curran saw something remarkable, a hidden thread connecting countless worlds, systems, and beings across the universe. It's a library, Aaron breathed, a record of everything or everyone it has observed. Yes, Alara said, her voice hushed with awe. But more than that, it's a test of comprehension. It doesn't just give knowledge, it measures understanding. Only those who can interpret patterns intuitively, who can think creatively, are acknowledged. That's why it guided us here. Curran stepped forward, letting his hand hover above the light. Instantly, the sphere responded. Threads of energy flowed into him, forming connections he could feel but not fully see. Images of civilizations, energy flows, and star systems merged into understanding, a comprehension beyond words, yet deeply clear. I think it's trying to communicate, Curran whispered. Not with words, but with ideas, concepts, patterns. Aaron touched his arm. Can it teach us? Alara nodded. Yes, but it's not teaching in the way humans normally understand teaching. It's allowing you to grasp concepts, relationships, and ideas in a way that transcends normal thought. Only those willing to embrace the unknown, to take risks and think beyond logic, can truly understand. As they moved closer, the sphere's light intensified, wrapping around them like ribbons of energy. Curran felt as if the knowledge of countless civilizations, countless ideas, and countless discoveries were flowing into him. He could sense the intelligence behind the structure, not just observing but curious about the humans themselves. It's aware of us, Curran said. Not just the artifact, but the three of us. It wants to see what humans can do. Alara's eyes sparkled with pride. Exactly, and that is why we are here. Humans aren't passive observers. We explore, we adapt, we create, we take risks that others avoid. And that is exactly what this intelligence is testing. Aaron hesitated, still awed by the energy flowing through the chamber. But what does it want from us? Knowledge, power, Alara shook her head. Not power, understanding, connection, insight. This is a species, or intelligence, that doesn't dominate or destroy. It observes, it learns, and it evaluates those who have the capacity to think beyond themselves. That's what makes humans remarkable. The artifact pulsed, sending a warm wave of light through the chamber. It guided Curran, Aaron, and Alara toward a series of floating platforms leading to the center of the sphere. Each platform tested them, not with danger, but with puzzles of perception, patterns, and intuition. Where other beings would fail with logic alone, the humans succeeded by observing subtleties, experimenting, and trusting their instincts. Hours passed as they solved each challenge, and the sphere responded to each success with radiant light and subtle vibrations. The artifact glowed brighter, resonating in harmony with the sphere. Finally, they reached the center where the energy flowed strongest. A voice, not spoken but felt in their minds, vibrated softly. You have reached understanding. You are not the first, but you are rare. Only those who embrace curiosity, courage, and creativity may stand here. Humans, you are remarkable. Curran felt goosebumps. The words were not in any language he knew, yet their meaning was unmistakable. They know us. They understand what humans can be. Aaron's voice trembled with excitement. They chose us. Yes, Alara said, her eyes shining. "Not because we are strong or fast or technologically advanced, but because we are willing to see the unknown, to explore, to connect with what others ignore. Humans, we are exceptional in ways the universe rarely encounters." Curran felt a warmth spreading through his chest. Pride, wonder, and a deep sense of responsibility mixed together. He realized that their journey wasn't just about discovery. It was a test of what humanity could achieve when it trusted itself, its creativity, and its courage. The sphere pulsed one final time, sending a wave of light that expanded throughout the chamber. Threads of energy connected to them, forming patterns that revealed secrets of the nebula, hidden star systems, and networks of civilizations that had observed one another for millennia. And in the midst of it all, Curran saw something clear. Humans had been acknowledged. Their willingness to explore, to risk, and to understand had earned them a place among the few beings capable of comprehending this intelligence. Aaron looked at him, her eyes wide. "We're part of this. We're accepted," Alara nodded slowly. "Yes, and it's not just acceptance. It's recognition. Humans are capable of connecting with the universe in ways that others cannot. That is the essence of HFY, not dominance, not conquest, but curiosity, creativity, and courage." Curran smiled, feeling a sense of unity with the universe. "Then we keep going. We learn, we explore. We live for tonight and every night after, knowing we are part of something greater." The artifact glowed one last time, pulsing in harmony with the sphere. The structure seemed to hum with approval, and the light expanded outward, illuminating the chamber in colors that defied description. For the first time, Curran, Aaron, and Alara understood what it meant to be human in the vastness of space. Not just small creatures in a huge universe, but explorers capable of understanding, connection, and creativity beyond measure. And in that realization, they felt a joy deeper than anything they had known, a thrill that came from the certainty that humans, curious, courageous, and unafraid, were destined to reach further than anyone imagined. Tonight, they had not only discovered a cosmic intelligence, they had discovered what humans could be. The crystalline chamber glowed softly around Curran, Aaron, and Alara. The pulse of the artifact and the sphere's energy created a rhythm that seemed to echo through their hearts. For a long moment, none of them spoke. Words were unnecessary. The understanding, the awe, and the exhilaration they felt could not be expressed with ordinary language. Alara was the first to break the silence. "What we've experienced, it's more than knowledge. It's a gift of perspective. The universe is not just vast, it is alive in patterns, connections, and ideas. And humans can see it, understand it, and even participate in it." Curran stepped forward, reaching toward the artifact. Its light wrapped around his fingers like soft silk, filling him with warmth and clarity. He could sense the threads of energy flowing outward, connecting distant star systems, alien civilizations, and unknown phenomena. It was a web of intelligence, observation, and learning, and humans were now a part of it. Aaron's eyes glistened. "We're part of something bigger, something alive, and it chose us, humans, it recognized us." Alara nodded. "Yes. Not because we are the strongest, not because we have the best technology, but because we dared to explore, to take risks, and to understand beyond the visible. That is what makes humans extraordinary." Curran felt a swell of pride and joy. For so long, humanity had been seen as small, fragile, and insignificant in the universe. Yet here, at the heart of an intelligence older than anything recorded in human history, their species' qualities were acknowledged. Curiosity, courage, creativity, these were not just traits, they were their power. The artifact pulsed again, projecting a vision of distant civilizations. Worlds unknown to humanity shimmered before their eyes. And for the first time, Curran realized the depth of what had been shared with them. This was not just information, it was a connection. Humans had been given the ability to see patterns and relationships across the galaxy, insights that could guide exploration, innovation, and understanding for generations. "Imagine what we can do with this," Curran whispered. "Not just for us, but for humanity. We can explore farther, understand more, and maybe help others see the universe the way we do." Aaron smiled, squeezing his hand. "It's like we've been given the universe's invitation, and it's up to us to accept." Alara's gaze softened. "And that is the essence of being human. We don't wait for opportunities to find us. We take them, we learn, we adapt, and we create meaning where others see chaos. That is why we are here, and that is why we are recognized." The crystalline structure pulsed brighter, responding to their emotions. The light seemed to stretch outward, revealing hidden pathways and chambers they had not noticed before. Shapes and patterns shifted, forming sequences of ideas that were impossible to convey in words, yet deeply clear to those willing to understand. Curran stepped onto one of the newly revealed platforms. The light beneath him expanded, creating a bridge that led to a smaller chamber at the center of the sphere. Inside, the energy condensed into a radiant form, a representation of the intelligence itself. It was unlike anything he had imagined, luminous, elegant, and ever-changing, its patterns flowing in harmony with their thoughts. "You are humans," the voice resonated in their minds, calm and deep. "You have embraced curiosity, courage, and creativity. You have understood patterns beyond perception. You are capable of connection and adaptation. Few species reach this point. You are acknowledged." Curran felt a thrill run through him. We did it. Humans did it." "Yes," Alara said softly. "And that is what HFY is about, not showing strength, but showing that humanity can rise to challenges in ways no one else can. We survive because we are curious. We thrive because we take risks. And we understand because we care enough to try." The sphere's energy swirled around them, and for the first time, Curran realized the magnitude of what they had achieved. They had not just found an alien intelligence, they had earned its recognition. Their species had been acknowledged as a force of curiosity, creativity, and courage in the universe. Aaron gazed at Curran. "Do you think this changes us, changes humanity?" "It already has," Curran replied, his eyes shining. "We understand that humans are capable of so much more than we ever imagined. And if we share this, even a little, it could change the way the world sees itself. Not as small, weak, or insignificant, but as explorers, as dreamers, as creators." Alara placed a hand on Curran's shoulder. "Exactly. And the beauty of it is, it's not just knowledge, it's perspective. A way of thinking, of seeing, of connecting. That is the real gift. Humans are now part of a network of understanding that extends beyond the stars. And the choices you make from here will shape how far that understanding reaches." The artifact pulsed one final time, enveloping the three of them in a warm, radiant glow. Colors shifted and danced, patterns forming sequences that seemed to record this moment, preserving it for future explorers. The intelligence had acknowledged them, connected with them, and in doing so, validated what humans had always known deep inside. Curiosity, courage, and creativity are powers unique to their species. Curran laughed softly, overwhelmed by the mixture of wonder and pride. "We actually did it. We explored something no one else could. Humans, we really are extraordinary." Aaron leaned into him. "And we'll keep going. We'll learn more, explore more, and maybe help others see what it means to be human in the universe." Alara smiled, her eyes reflecting the pulsing lights around them. "And that is the journey that never ends. Humans never stop exploring, never stop questioning, never stop reaching for what lies beyond. That is our gift. That is why we are here." As they prepared to leave the chamber, the paths of light shifted, guiding them back toward their ship. The journey ahead would continue, more discoveries, more mysteries, more wonders, but they carried with them a new understanding. Humans were not merely passengers in the universe. They were explorers, thinkers, and creators capable of connecting with the very fabric of existence. Curran looked out at the nebula one last time before stepping into the ship. Stars shimmered like diamonds in the vast black, and he felt a profound connection to everything around him. "Humans don't wait for permission," he whispered. "We explore, we create, we understand, and we thrive." Aaron laughed softly. "Then let's keep living for tonight and every night after." Alara watched them both, pride and hope shining in her eyes. "That is the essence of being human. That is why the universe has recognized you. And that is why humanity will continue to shine, bright, bold, and unafraid." The ship lifted from the crystalline structure, gliding smoothly back into the nebula. The light from the artifact and the sphere faded gradually, but the warmth and understanding they had gained stayed within them. Humanity had proven itself, not through strength or conquest, but through curiosity, creativity, and courage, the qualities that defined them. As the orbital city of Naira 7 appeared in the distance, Curran, Aaron, and Alara looked at each other and smiled. They had touched the edge of understanding, experienced the recognition of intelligence far older and wiser than any human mind, and returned changed, not just as individuals, but as representatives of their species. In that moment, Curran knew something with absolute certainty. Humans were capable of more than anyone had imagined. They could explore the unknown, understand the unimaginable, and connect with the universe in ways that no one else could. And with that realization, he whispered one last time, echoing the words that had started it all. "Then let's live for tonight." The stars stretched endlessly before them, full of mystery, possibility, and wonder. And humanity, curious, courageous, and creative, was ready to meet it head-on.